So do you feel like your 40s kind of hit you differently? Maybe your IBD symptom flares were more often, your energy tanks or your moods are all on a roller coaster. So what would you say if I told you that it's not just all in your head, but it's your hormones? Well, today I want to dive into how perimenopause and menopause collide with IBD and why balancing your gut and hormones together is the secret to feeling like yourself again. Don't go anywhere. Hey friend, welcome to Gut Fix. Are you ready to finally get rid of those debilitating digestive symptoms? Do you catch yourself staying up late Googling things like, what can I eat? Or how do I stop a flare? Or maybe you're just lying awake wondering, how did this ever happen to me? I'm Wendy, and I've been exactly where you are, desperately searching for answers, but determined to find natural solutions. And like you, I was overwhelmed by all the conflicting information out there and unsure of what might really work for me. And so now in this podcast, I'm here to share with you what I've learned, how to listen to your body's signals, and uncover the common mistakes that might be standing in the way of your healing. So grab your favorite drink, pop in your earbuds, and let's dive into your health transformation together. So welcome back to Gut Fix. I'm Wendy Handy, your host, and FDN-P, Functional Nutrition Diagnostic Practitioner and health consultant, and also your fellow traveler on this winding road of gut health. So if you're a woman in your 40s or maybe older, you've probably started to notice things feel different than they did in their 20s and 30s. A lot of things. But the fatigue feels deeper, the stress feels just heavier, and those digestive flare-ups, well, they can maybe show up at the worst times. Not that there's really ever a good time for a flare-up. But today I want to unpack the hormonal shifts of perimenopause and menopause and how they directly affect women with IBD. So whether you're dealing with ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, or chronic digestive inflammation, then this episode will help you to understand why your body's changing and, more importantly, what you can do about it. So perimenopause can start in the late 30s to mid 40s. And here's what's really happening inside your body when that happens. So your estrogen and your progesterone levels don't just decline, they fluctuate wildly at times before they eventually start to drop. And then one day you might have some high estrogen, the next day it could plummet. And that creates that what feels like an internal roller coaster. And then you add in the thyroid changes, which are incredibly common in women over 40, and you've got the perfect storm brewing. But here's what most doctors are not going to tell you, is that your gut and your hormones are having a constant conversation with one another. They are in constant communication. And why this matters for IBD is because estrogen actually keeps inflammation in check. And research shows that the gastrointestinal tract contains estrogen receptors, particularly estrogen receptor beta in colon tissue. And when your estrogen drops during perimenopause, oftentimes you're going to see that inflammation rises, which is exactly what you don't want to have happen when you're trying to manage IBD, right? And progesterone is your calming, your anti-inflammatory hormone. And it works by inhibiting gut smooth muscle contractions. And it also produces nitric oxide, and that's going to help to relax the digestive system. And when you have less progesterone, that means more anxiety, more trouble sleeping, and oftentimes worse gut symptoms. And then we can't forget about our friend cortisol. So if you've been pushing through life on overdrive, which we all tend to do, right? Which, I'm going to say it's most of us. We all do that. We've been trained to do that. Suck it up, right? Suck it up, cupcake. Your stress hormones Those can suppress digestion, they can weaken that gut lining, and they can make those flare-ups more likely. So cortisol, pushing yourself through overdrive, is going to raise it up and it's going to wreak havoc on your gut. So basically, your hormones in your gut are, once again, they're in constant conversation with one another. And when one gets out of balance, the other one's going to feel it too, just naturally, right? So here's where it gets real. Research involving over 1,200 women with IBD found that more than half of them, 64% with Crohn's and 34% with ulcerative colitis, reported worsening symptoms during their menstrual cycles. And I can honestly say that I noticed that too. And, the kicker is that these women were younger at diagnosis. They had, lower quality of life scores, and they often struggled more with their symptoms overall, as an overall general rule. So what you might actually notice is that more flare-ups around your cycle, or as your periods tend to become more irregular during perimenopause, is when you're going to notice those flare-ups. You might experience, bloating, constipation, diarrhea that tend to seem worse at certain times of the month, even when, that timing becomes unpredictable. And then fatigue that doesn't go away, even though you've had proper rest, like that could be you could sleep 10 hours and you're still exhausted. I mean, that's huge. It isn't typical. And it isn't the typical, I need more coffee, tiredness. This is that very bone deep exhaustion that can be both a symptom or, a hormone shifts and a trigger for your gut issues. And that creates a very vicious cycle. Then you've got brain fog and mood swings, and they hit you differently too. So you might feel like you're walking through, mental quicksand, or your emotions are on a roller coaster that you just can't seem to get off. And hormones directly impact neurotransmitter balance. So when you layer in the inflammation from IBD, it can be the perfect storm for your brain. And then sleep struggles are both, they're both a symptom and a cause, because hormone changes disrupt sleep. Poor sleep then also worsens both hormone balance and gut symptoms. So you've got the perfect storm there. And I used to think that my gut was the only thing that was at war with my body. But once I really started to take a closer look at my hormones, it all started to kind of make sense. And, they're partners in crime. And so enough of the doom and gloom portion of it, right? What can we actually do about it? So let's first talk about food. So you want to eat for both hormone and gut health. That's going to be your key. And that means that you're going to focus on a very whole food, rich in phytoestrogens, which are, plant-based compounds that can help balance your estrogen levels. I want you to think about things like, flax seeds, chia seeds, lentils, and some even fermented soy in moderation. Omega-3 fatty acids. Those are going to be found in your wild salmon, your walnuts, your flaxseed oils. They're all crucial for lowering inflammation. And then next, you want to prioritize restorative sleep. If you've been listening to me at all or paying attention, sleep is really, truly, to me, the cornerstone of health. Nothing is going to beat a good night's sleep. So, you can eat the best diet in the world, but if you're not getting any sleep, I'm telling you, you're going to feel crummy. So lack of sleep is also going to raise your cortisol levels, which, as we've talked about, isn't good news for your gut. And you need to really, when you go to bed at night, you need to really focus on creating a relaxing bedtime routine that should be the same every night. You want to avoid that blue light from your screens, your computer, your TV even, and your phone, at least a minimum of 30 minutes, more like an hour prior to going to bed. And you might even consider, using some supplements like magnesium. Magnesium glycinate is my favorite to help you unwind. That's going to help all your muscles relax. And then, managing stress, well, that's just, we all know that just from having IBD, it's a non-negotiable. When your nervous system is in that constant state of fight or flight, then your digestion and your hormone production is going to suffer. No question. So you want to incorporate, stress reducing activities into your daily life. It could be some meditation, it could be yoga, journaling, deep belly breaths, or maybe it's just taking a walk out in nature for 10 minutes. And then finally, don't be afraid to, look at a test. Just get under the microscope and, see what's really going on in your body. Functional lab tests like the Dutch hormone panel, or, even a comprehensive stool test, can provide valuable insights into what's really going on inside your body. And without that, we're just kind of guessing at what's causing symptoms, because some of the symptoms could be coming from multiple different, reasons. So knowledge is power. And with the right information, you can then create a very targeted plan to support not only your gut, but your hormones too. And here's something encouraging. There is research out there that shows that postmenopausal women with IBD who have used hormone replacement therapy, they experience significant improvements in their disease activity. Now, hormone replacement is a very individualized decision. It has to be one that you make with your doctor practitioner. I'm not advocating that in any way, shape, or form for you, but it has to be a personal decision between you and your physician or practitioner. But if you're struggling, know that there's options out there worth exploring with your practitioner. So here's the truth. Your 40s don't have to mean feeling powerless. Yes, your hormones are shifting, and yes, your gut may be getting more sensitive, but many times when you understand the connection that between the two, you can actually take steps to make a very huge difference in a positive way. Your body isn't betraying you. It's something that we all go through, but it's communicating with you. And the key is to listen for your body's signals. So, if this episode hit home for you, I would love for you to take the next step. Book a free discovery call. You can find the link in the show notes below, or you can go to my website, wendyhandy.com. And let's uncover what your hormones and your gut are trying to tell you. You don't have to piece this puzzle together all by yourself. And if you love today's episode, I would, love it if you would share it with a friend. Leave me a review. It helps more women like you find my podcast. And until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and remember, your gut and your hormones, they're not fighting you. They're just asking you for support. See you next week. Hey friend, I hope today's episode brought you some real value. If it did, would you take just 30 seconds to share it with a friend who might be struggling to get her gut in check? And if you're feeling extra generous, leave me a review on Apple. It absolutely lights me up knowing that this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to grab my protein shake and get my gut happy. I'll see you back here next Tuesday for another episode of Gut Fix. And until then, stay happy and stay healthy.